morning, everyone. My name is Elisa Udaskin, and I am a career specialist in career services at JVS, Jewish Vocational Service, and we're located in East Orange and Montclair. So I always start our Job Seekers webinars by telling you about JVS. JVS was founded in 1939, and our motto at JVS has always been helping people help themselves, which means we help people get jobs and get back on their feet. Our Job Seekers programs are fully funded by the Jewish Federation of Greater MetroWest and Project M, and we thank them both so much for their support. And I would be remiss if I don't say that all of our speakers are volunteers as well, and we're very, very grateful for them to share their expertise and their time with us. So this morning, we have such a special treat, and I'm very excited. We're going to be welcome our guest speaker, Holly Adams. Holly is the founder of Aha Learning Moments, a learning and development company that wants to spark aha moments in others as they grow their talents and skills. With 17 years of training experience, Holly specializes in instructional design, curriculum development, and creating micro-learning videos. She partners with professionals to offer comprehensive learning solutions to meet a wide range of client needs. So this morning, because so many people said that they loved our earlier session in the year of AI and the overview of AI, we're going to take a deep dive. And today, Holly is going to take us through a deep dive into using ChatGPT for your resume and cover letters.
All right. Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you guys so much for being so enthusiastic about registering for this webinar about how to use artificial intelligence to improve your resume and cover letters. So we're going to take a quick look at what we're going to cover today just to set expectations for what we're going to do. So here we go. Let me advance our slide. And we are going to talk a little bit about which artificial intelligence applications you can use. There are a lot of free ones out there. We'll be using ChatGPT, the 3.5 free version for our session today, but there is a paid version. We'll talk about that a little bit later, as well as other applications that you can use. I'm also going to provide you with some suggestions to improve your resume using AI. We're going to get down and dirty and get into the ChatGPT and actually do some prompts and see what it yields so that you guys can see it in action. And then I'm also going to give you suggestions for writing cover letter template that you can use over and over again, and then write some paragraphs that you can use interchangeably into your cover letter. And then we'll touch on the security of AI and what the risks are as it relates specifically to this topic. So for this whole presentation, I'm going to assume that a lot of you haven't used ChatGPT before. Maybe you have a resume, or maybe you're building a resume from scratch. So this one is this presentation is kind of assuming that you already have something built, but we will touch on how you can start from scratch as well with some of the new applications that we'll be talking about. So let's take a look at some of those. So here are the AI application and resume builders. We have ChatGPT, which again, the 3.5 is the free version. If you decide to buy into the 4.0, it's $20 a month. The 3.5 is its brain, or the information that it has stored in it, is from, I think, back in 2021. So it's a few years old, versus the paid version has information up to at least November of 2022 or even into 2023. So I always think of ChatGPT as a brain. And so it has a little bit more, because the paid version is a little bit older or newer. It has more information in its brain. There's also Resume Genius that is free, Resume Maker, and Zeti. The other ones at the bottom of the screen with Teal, Resi, JobScan, and Kick Resume have free services, but they also have different plans. If you're building your resume from scratch, you may want to pay a little bit extra to get more of those services. I also just recently, I was at a networking event the other night and heard of another one called HyperWrite. And I'll try to put that in the chat a little bit later. That's HyperWrite, HyperWrite. And that is another resume builder. But again, for this session, we're going to focus on the free version of ChatGPT, which is the 3.5. And we'll be in and out of it quite a bit. So I want to set that expectation too, that you're going to see a lot of changes on screen when we go back and forth into ChatGPT and really get into the meat of this session. So, ways to improve your resume using ChatGPT. Again, for this session, I'm going to assume that you at least have a resume that you're starting from, and that we're going to use ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, to improve or polish your resume, not necessarily write it in its entirety. So your resume, we always want it to be authentic and really show your personality. So as we go in and we're starting to use ChatGPT, that's almost like a tongue twister. But as we start using it for our session today, I'll mention several times that you'll want to read through when we put in a prompt and it yields results, and we copy and paste it into our resume or a cover letter. We always want to read through it and make sure that it's authentic to yourself and how you would say things. I even had somebody tell me that she reads what it yields out loud. And if something doesn't roll off of her tongue, then she doesn't use it, or she changes the words to something that sounds more like her, so that it's authentic and reflects her personality and what she would say. The last thing that we want to do is copy and paste something into a resume or a cover letter that if we're asked in an interview, we wouldn't sound the same way as the way that we're writing it. So you want to be sure to make it reflect something that you would actually say. And this is a good place too. If you guys aren't familiar with ChatGPT, like I said before, I think of it as like as a brain. So it's only as good as kind of what you've put into it. So as people all over the world use ChatGPT to prompt and ask it certain things, and it keeps building based on all of those prompts and things that people are asking. So that's what makes it smarter and smarter, is all of those prompts that people are putting into it. So it yields results based on what people are asking. So that's why the free version is a little bit older, maybe doesn't have as much of the knowledge as the paid version, but I think it still provides enough for what your intended purpose is. But again, you'll want to, and you'll see here in a few minutes as I'm just getting ready to start diving into the ChatGPT and actually showing you some things. But another reason to continually review what it's yielding is, based on your particular industry and the job that you're looking for, you don't know how much knowledge ChatGPT has about your industry and about buzzwords in your industry. So that's another reason to continually read through what it's providing so that you can make some of those alterations to buzzwords that are used in your industry. So always, 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 if I can't stress enough, read and review and make some modifications. People have also told me too that now talent acquisition recruiters, they're coming up with software now to detect whether people are using AI to completely build their resume without any changes. I don't know that for a fact, but that's what some folks have been saying. So I'm gonna at least take their caution. And that's why I, again, highly stress that we review and revise a little bit to make it authentic to you. So ways to use ChatGPT or AI to improve your resume. You can even use it to revise small sections of your resume, like your summary, for example. So I'm going to go into my resume. I'm going to leave this screen for just a second. Give me a minute. And I'm going to show you my resume, and I'm going to go to, here's my resume. And hopefully everybody's seeing that. Lisa, you can tell me if that's not being seen, but I'm going to take my professional summary. I'm going to highlight it. Oops. And I'm going to just simply hit a Control-C to copy. I'm going to go to the internet. I have opened ChatGPT, and here's the 3.5. You can see here in the corner. I'm going to create a new chat that's up in the left-hand corner here. And I'm going to, every time you do a new chat, again, it's like almost like talking to a person, and you'll see here in just a second, but I just want to tell it, I need help revising my professional summary. And it's going to say, okay, yeah, we'd be happy to help you. And I'm going to paste that professional summary, hit enter, or even the little send button here. And now it's yielding some results for me. So I'm going to scroll back up. Again, you can see how the conversation is being documented, and it is a conversation. Here's me. ChatGPT is the green icon, and I've pasted in the professional summary. And now ChatGPT has said, here's a revised version. So again, I'm going to read through it and make sure I like it. I like to go ahead and do all of my editing in Word. So I'm going to copy this. Again, the Control-C. I'm going to go back to my resume. I have it highlighted as to what I had there originally, and I'm going to replace it with what ChatGPT said by doing a Control-V. Oops. Actually, I'm not going to do that because it doesn't keep the formatting. I'm going to right click on my mouse, go up into merge formatting so it stays the same format as my resume. And now I'm going to read through it and make sure that it sounds like me, it's authentic to me and my personality. So I'm a dedicated learning and development professional and seasoned project manager with a proven track record of excellence in organization, results-driven approach, and adept at cross-functional collaboration, skillfully strategizes. See, that's got caught up a little bit in that word, executes and achieves training and communication objectives, consistently contributing to the significant boosts in sales and productivity. So because I got caught up with the word strategizes, and that could just be, me reading it to you guys, but if I don't think that that sounds authentic to me, I can go back and just say, maybe I want to even remove it and just say that I skillfully executes. And then maybe I put something about the strategy towards the end. Let's see, consistently contributing to significant boosts in sales and productivity. Oops. And I don't know. Provides strategic thinking or something like that. I mean, I'm just kind of flying here, but something again that sounds something that I would say. So once I have this kind of finalized, I can hit save and save those changes in my resume. But you can see that going to ChatGPT yields a certain result based on what you've asked it to do. And then you copy paste, do all the editing that you want to in your resume. You can do your professional summary. You can do some of your bullet points in your resume as it relates to particular jobs. I'm going to scroll down. You can even ask it about key skills to help put that in there by pasting your whole resume in and say, please extract key skills. But I can even do a few bullet points if I want to.
So
But
Holly,
yeah,
this
yeah,
is Elise. So before you move into the bullet points, I just wanted to reinforce how um what you said about it being a starting point, like ChatGPT. For a lot of
yeah,
my clients, they don't even know how to start a professional summary. So using ChatGPT in that case is such a great tool to get started. But I would just want to emphasize what you said. It's a starting point. And you
right.
still need to have that human, just like you're saying, to your own personal view and reviewing it. But it's such a great starting point when you're stuck and you're not sure, especially when you're wanting to customize. And maybe you could talk about that as we go through when you're customizing your resumes for different job descriptions, things like that. Thank you. And you were talking about
Okay.
bullets, so I didn't want to catch you off guard.
Oh,
Okay.
oh, that's okay. No, that's great. I like what you inserted. So it is a starting place. And like we both said, some people may not necessarily know what to do with a professional summary. There are certainly websites you can Google and talk about professional summary or ask for additional guidance on professional summaries. But once you even write something, and again, it's very loose about what you do in that professional summary, just like I did. You just copy and paste it into ChatGPT, and they're going to help you refine it, make it sound professional. But again, want to review and make sure it's using the buzzwords that you have and in your industry. So I'm going to try it with my bullet points. So here I'm going to hit a Control C and copy some of my bullet points. When I go back to ChatGPT, because now I'm prompting it for something different, I want to start a new chat. If I start it in the existing one, it's still thinking about my professional summary, and I don't want it to think about my professional summary anymore. So I'm going to start a whole new chat, and I'm just going to say, help me revise my professional or my job bullets for my resume, and hit that. And then now I'm gonna hit the Control V to paste that in. And it's like, of course, please provide those bullets. And now I've provided the bullets, and here it comes. It's giving me oodles of choices. Again, I like to copy. I'm going to hit that Control C because I like to edit in my document. And then I'm going to come in and keep the formatting. So merge formatting. Now you'll notice too, it has the 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are things that you're going to have to just kind of go through. Once you've revised the wording, then you can kind of come through and change those into actual bullets like I have below. But again, it's giving me some different language. I want to review it, make sure that it's authentic and reflects my personality. So here I've just updated some of my bullets in my resume that way. Kind of going back to our presentation for a second, you can also use this to find keywords for a specific job title. So it's very important that we use keywords in resumes, in cover letters that are pulled from the job description, because a lot of times, again, there are software programs that scan your resume for bigger companies and only pull out those resumes that have the keywords. So here's an example of how we can use ChatGPT to find keywords. So I'm going to actually copy this part right here saying, hey, review the job description. So I'm going to copy this so that it can extract the keywords. I'm going to start a whole new chat again in the upper left-hand corner. And I'm going to paste this, what we just did, copied in here about reviewing the job description. I'm actually going to go into a job description that I found in LinkedIn. It's no longer accepting applications, but we're going to use it anyway. And here I'm going to copy the actual job description. So I'm going to hit my Control-C. I'm going to go back into ChatGPT. Oops. Sorry. I lost sight of where I was. Here is ChatGPT. So there's even a place that says paste the job description. So I'm going to take this away. And this is where I'm going to be posting. So I'm going to hit my Control-V where I have the job description. I'm going to send it to ChatGPT. So here, review the job description for this particular role. I've inserted the actual job description, and then here's what ChatGPT has resulted. You can see the green. ChatGPT, here are some keywords for enhancing your resume for a learning and development role at Whitley Penn based on the provided job description. It has given me 20 keywords that I can use or make sure some of them are in my resume and maybe use some of them in my cover letter. Again, just because there are so many software programs now being used by recruiters and talent acquisition folks that will pull and use these keywords to pull your resume for them to review. So very important keywords to use. So again, and I actually have a document that we're going to be sending you at the end of this session about some of it's the 25 best prompts to use in ChatGPT as it relates to a job search. So you guys are going to get that from Elisa after the session today. So I'm super excited for you to have that. It was something I came across very recently. So this is how we find some keywords. And so we've kind of talked a little bit about that. Let's go through, hang on just a second, in our presenter view and go through. So we've used it to revise the summary and some of our bullets, even to search for keywords. Again, stressing to always review and revise what ChatGPT provides. If you need to, if it hasn't really understood your prompt, you may have to refine it, revise it, and do it again to yield some different results if it's not quite understanding what you're looking for. So just know that sometimes it's kind of hit or miss. You need to make sure it's yielding what you're specifically asking for. In addition to focusing on your resume, so we've used it for professional summaries, for bullet points, even keywords that we can use in our resume. But another way is that I'm going to step out of this and back into ChatGPT. Somebody told me recently that they used it to come up with questions for, like, what would an interviewer or hiring manager ask me? What kinds of questions would an interviewer ask me for this particular job description? So that's another thing that you can go in and do. I mean, the possibilities are endless, folks. So I'm going to even go in here and type what questions would a hiring manager ask me for this position? Question mark. So I'm going to send that, but I'm going to go back in and again, it says without knowing, but here's my job description. So again, I'm just going to do a quick Control C and go back into ChatGPT. Oops. Give me just a second. Go back into ChatGPT and paste this and hit send. So now it has that job description and it's saying, based on the provided job description, here are some questions that you might be asked. So super, super helpful to now have some questions that a hiring manager might ask you. And this is great for preparing yourself for the interview. So let's even take it a step further and go and say, okay, now that we have the questions, let's copy these questions and say, how would I answer them if I were in an interview? So I'm going to hit my Control C. I'm going to start a whole new chat. So how would I answer these interview questions? I hit that, but then also again, it's setting my ChatGPT up for asking or answering my question. So here it says, of course, provide the interview questions we've provided. Here's how you might approach answering some of these questions. So it literally bullet points every single question and a possible answer. Again, you want to always review and think about it, but it's great in helping you prepare for your particular interview. So just think about that when you're, preparing for interviews and stuff too, that it can always help you with different things. So want to make sure that we're using ChatGPT to its fullest, the fullest extent. So, and I mentioned too that Elisa will be sending you at the end of the session a document that is the 25 best prompts to use with ChatGPT. So she'll be sending you that later. Elisa, I'm just going to check in with you to see if there were any questions in the chat that we might need to answer at this point.
Thank you, Holly. Okay, so I believe I have Craig and then Janet, Alicia, and if there's anyone else, put it in the chat in the chat for me. But Craig, was your question answered, or did you want to ask your question?
Yeah, no, I think so. Just a quickie for you, Holly. This is absolutely fantastic. I did
Yay.
miss one of the pieces when you were doing the job description where you asked it to come up with keywords. I did not see what question you put into the chat after you pasted it to go through that process.
Yeah, so I simply asked it for keywords. I'm actually going to take a step back in my presentation too. So Craig, here's the example that you're seeing on screen is what I copied and pasted into ChatGPT, the review of the job description, but then I went into LinkedIn, I copied the job description, and in this area where it says that you need to paste the text, in ChatGPT, I erased or deleted this part and inserted the description, and then I hit the send to ChatGPT so it could result in those keywords. And you could, even if you didn't copy and paste this, you could just say, here's a job description and I need keywords for this particular job description, and it would yield the same kind of results.
Sure. So, Holly, Google has a version of ChatGPT called Bard, which as of today is called Gemini. What are your
Okay.
thoughts on their product?
Actually, haven't heard of it.
Okay.
I'll be perfectly honest in that.
Okay.
So I can't comment on how it is in comparison to ChatGPT.
Okay. Thanks.
So,
Yeah, and Carol, what we could do is we could just research that ourselves
Ah.
because it's a great question. So why don't we take that? We could do that as a follow-up. Okay,
Yeah.
and Mercedes, would you like to ask your question?
How you doing, everyone? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. So my name is Mercedes. I'm a job developer from Union College in Elizabeth, New Jersey. So thank you for having me. This workshop is very helpful. Lets me know that I'm on the right track because I do utilize ChatGPT just for assistance at times and encouraging students to do so here. My question is here. I'm not sure if I missed it because I was in a meeting earlier and I came in maybe like 15 minutes or so after the start time.
Sure.
The resume format, I'm not sure if you went over this, but I noticed on the resume that you had on the screen that it did not have um the location as far as like the city and state. Is that something that we're completely doing away with now? Is that like the new trend?
I think so. I had read quite a bit in regards to resumes because
Mhm.
back in the day, again, maybe a little bit older than some of the folks on the session. I'm not sure, but back in the day, I used to have my name and my address and phone number, email address at the top of the resume. But
Mhm.
now people are starting to streamline things, and because there's a lot of remote positions, um, your location isn't necessarily that important anymore. So
Okay.
I just went with a very streamlined version that just had my name and my contact information at the top instead of putting anything about my location.
Yeah, and if I can just build on that, Mercedes, that
Mhm.
Yeah.
question made me think about security and privacy, which I know Holly is going to address in a few more slides.
Mhm.
But regarding the resume, I always counsel people, you can put the city and the state, but
That's what I thought, but
not your address.
not
Like
the full address.
Right.
a lot of people still have full address. So not to do that. So
So is
there,
it okay to leave the city and the state, or is it
yeah.
more of a thing to do away with it? Just out of curiosity, because I was actually having this back and forth with one of my my coworkers here. So I definitely want to just see what's the new trend.
It's fine. It's fine either way. It's fine either
Okay.
way.
All right.
Okay, so Holly, back over to you.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna start transitioning from working on a resume into talking about cover letters. So what you're seeing on screen, I like to use and create a template that has paragraphs that I'm going to use every single time. You can kind of see based on this one that, I'm kind of have an introductory paragraph, and especially at the bottom is my contact information and some things that I want to use over and over again. But the ones that I'm customizing, where I have some placeholders, are ones that are specific to the job description. So again, I have created a cover letter template, and if you want, you can even use ChatGPT to refine some of these. So again, I'm going to leave the screen and go back in. I'm going to go into this is my Word document that has my template in it. Let's just say I'm going to copy this part, do a Control C. I'm going to go into ChatGPT. Got to start that new chat so we get some good results, right? Please help me refine my professional experience. So it's going to say, yeah, I'll be happy to if you let me know what you want to refine. And so Now I'm going to send it to them. And the only reason that I didn't say something about helping me with my overall cover letter is if you want to do that and get it to help you with the entire cover letter, I would draft an entire cover letter first and then put it in. If I said that just about this one paragraph, it would kind of spit out some results. And I've tried it before and it just gave me more results than I really needed. But here you can see, thank you for providing the details, training and development specialist. So it's kind of given me some bullet points, not necessarily giving me the paragraph that I wanted. So let me go back and look. Please help me refine my professional experience. I need, maybe you say, I need a revised paragraph for my experience. Let's see if we can do that and then repaste it. And oops, I don't think let's see. Oh. Let's see what it does. I'm losing track. Need a revised paragraph. Certainly, here's a revised paragraph. Oh, it went ahead and did it, even without me. Here is the refined version of your experience based on the provided information. So again, if I want to do this, I can simply go and do my Control-C, go back into my template, do the pasting with the format, and start reading and reviewing this information. Seems like an awful lot, so I'd probably want to scale that down. I don't want my cover letter to be more than 1 page. So anyway, I'm going to keep going back and forth, and maybe I'm comfortable when it's just the template. Once I've kind of put a few of these paragraphs in, or I feel comfortable with what I've written. But the long and short of it is that you want to just have a template that you can use over and over again. This is more of a time saver. So we're gonna just use it as a time saver to make sure that we're being very efficient when it comes to applying for jobs and writing cover letters. Some people even say, oh, I don't write cover letters anymore, or people don't read cover letters, the talent acquisition, and that might be the case. But for me personally, if there's a spot in the application process where it says, hey, go ahead and here's a place where you can upload a cover letter, I never want it to be blank. That's just me personally, but you know, everybody has different thoughts about that. So
Holly, sorry, this is Elisa. I totally agree. If you really like, you're going to be applying to a whole bunch of different jobs. If there is a job that you're like, wow, this is something I really want, absolutely ensure you have a cover letter.
right. So once I have that template down, what I do now is to go in and open a separate Word document and start writing different paragraphs for the jobs. And I've kind of done it, you know, over time, is based on the job that I'm looking for. I try to write paragraphs for what they're looking for. And these are ones that I'm going to end up in copying. I'm going to use ChatGPT to refine them. But once I get them refined in this separate document, then I'm going to use it to, when I get a job description or when I'm applying for a job and I'm creating a cover letter, then I'm going to select from these paragraphs to copy and put into those placeholder spaces in my template. So let me show you what I'm talking about, and then we can use ChatGPT to help us refine some of these. So here is my separate document. I've titled it Content for Cover Letters, and I have written different paragraphs about training and development and what they are looking for sometimes in a job description, what I might want to highlight in a particular cover letter. So let's say it's asking for sales training, a job description that I'm applying for. So here I have a paragraph written about sales training. Again, I'm going to do a Control C, copy that, go into ChatGPT. We're going to start a new chat, and I'm going to say, help me revise my experience in sales training. Let's see what we can get here. And I'm going to paste that paragraph and send it to ChatGPT. So here's a revised version of your experience in sales training. So again, it's given me a lot that I would maybe want to cull through and read through, again, wanting to make sure it's authentic to me. So I'm going to do a quick copy, go into the document. I could, if I wanted to save and just kind of put it aside while since it, gave me so much. I want to keep that formatting. I always forget to do that one, but merge formatting. So I'm going to kind of read through and pick and choose. Maybe I even like the short version that I had before, but the long and short of it is that I'm going to keep a paragraph in here that I can continually copy with that Control C when I'm creating a cover letter, go into my template, and where I have the insert paragraph or a placeholder, I'm going to hit my Control V, paste it. And so that way I'm just quickly churning out these cover letters that I can then save. I save it based on the company name of the job for the job that I'm applying for, save it onto my computer, and then that way I can upload it when I'm applying for a particular job. But I find that it saves a lot of time to do it this way. You know, I'm not the end all be all. I'm sure that other people have some other ideas about that too, but I like doing it this way. And again, just having the separate document for my paragraphs that I would then cut and paste into the cover letter. So Elisa, I'm gonna give you a pause and see what we have before we move on to.
Yeah, thank you, Holly. And I just wanted to comment on that last section, how
Yeah.
brilliant that approach is to prepare those different, I guess, competencies or areas, examples, and having ChatGPT help you refine the language for the cover letter, and always having that master document ready. I think a double thing that you can use that for that I encourage people is to prepare for the interview, because you will have it already there, and then you can expand it with storytelling and things like that. But how brilliant is that to keep that? If you can just put that back up, if you can, that slide.
Yeah.
And
The cover letter. Like,
the one where you had the
Oh.
paragraphs. Yeah.
uh-huh.
There you go. There you go. Everyone should be doing this, and not necessarily, you don't have to use ChatGPT if you don't want to for it, but everyone should be doing this, you know, as at the basis. So you don't have to rethink every single time. So thank you. That was brilliant. Okay. So I have 3 people. Okay. Right now. So we have Tona, Bob, then James Clavijo. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. And then George Armstrong. So Tona, would you like to ask your question?
Yes. Hi, good morning. My
Good morning.
question was basically, I'm not as familiar with ChatGPT as I would like to be yet, but does it include its own tutorials and I guess updates as its system, you know, becomes more savvy to guide users in prompts for specificity? Because, for example, I've heard feedback from some users that they put in a request and the response comes back pretty generalized, you know. So my recommendation was to make your request of the ChatGPT more detailed and more specific, you know, and maybe change the sequence. For example, you know, like instead of saying, I'm looking for a position in, you know, something of that nature, or just say, I'm a recruiter hiring for this position. What, you know, experience would be ideal for my candidate to be, you know what I mean? So like switch
Yeah.
up the way you word it so that you get better results. So is that embedded in the system? Or if not, is there a way or resources that you recommend to get better at that content writing, you know, that prompt writing, I should say, free or low cost? Because I'm working with nonprofit organizations, you know, budgets are limited and I want to help as many people as possible. Thank you.
Right. I actually think that the document we're going to be providing you afterwards will be really helpful. The 25 best prompts to use when searching for jobs. I think that will be very helpful. And just like you're saying, you're doing the right thing by just refining and changing the wording a little bit in regards to what you're searching for. And the fact that it yields very general results may just be, you know, again, in that free version of 3.5 on ChatGPT, it's an older version. Maybe it just hasn't, that brain that I talked about earlier, maybe it just hasn't absorbed enough knowledge about the specific thing that you're asking prompts about. So maybe that's why it's being so general.
So you said about information not being in ChatGPT to respond. So question, as I continue using my ChatGPT, or this is true for any user, does it become more personalized based on the user, or is this information then added to their database to be more widespread for additional users? In other words, you know, is ChatGPT becoming my friend based on what I put in it?
No.
Okay.
It's keeping it very general based on everybody's use, but it takes in what you're asking and considers that moving forward. So it's a little brain that absorbs everybody's, but results when somebody gives it a prompt, results in everything that it's taken in.
Okay,
So
thanks for that, Holly. Thank you.
Hey, so James, did you want to ask your question?
Yeah, so Holly, my question is more of, so if my goal is to take, for example, a cover letter that I have, I like it, but I now want to customize it for a specific role I'm applying to, right? Or my resume, the same thing.
Right.
And I know that there's ways to tell it, hey, can you customize this based on whatever the job description or whatever I'm doing? But is there a way to do that? Like, do you have to do it section by section, or is there a way to kind of say, hey, can you take this resume, right? Obviously, don't paste. I'm not going to paste or upload any personal information, but can you take this and now tailor or customize it so that, because I've tried doing that and it kind of it loses, like it's like it's too much information that's being uploaded and doesn't really know what to do. So have you seen it, or is it have you only done it section by section?
I've only done it section by section, but I think if you wanted to put the whole thing in there to like the whole resume and say, hey, please refine my resume, I would consider maybe some of the other resume builders that I had mentioned early on, and you'll also get that in the cheat sheet that Elisa will be sending after the session today with all of those resources. But I would maybe use one of the resume builders instead of ChatGPT if you're not getting the results that you're really kind of looking for in ChatGPT. But you can certainly put in your entire resume or an entire cover letter and say, please revise this for me, and it will yield a result. Whether you like it or not, maybe a whole different story.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
We have one more question, Holly, and that's from George, and then we'll proceed with the presentation. Anyone who has more questions, put them in the chat, okay?
Both Dean and I had the same question.
Okay.
When I apply for a job, they'll say, shall we run it through AI or chat? And I don't know whether to say yes or no. I mean, it's on the job application. Should we let them run it through AI?
Oh, I see what they're saying.
Dean, join in if I'm not asking it right.
Yeah, it's, so if I'm understanding the question, in the actual application process, it's asking, can we run your resume through AI?
Correct.
Right? And that's up to you. That's a personal preference. I think when they're doing that, they're looking for keywords. And Elisa, if you've had any experience with this too, you can chime in, feel free. But I think it's asking to run your resume. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because it's probably looking for keywords. And if you haven't used the keywords,
Oh,
then
gosh.
it's possibility that it might take
pay
you
too
out of the running. But
Right.
that's a personal preference as to whether you want it to do that, you know.
I really have to
So,
find out if that's just what the advantage or disadvantage is, but thank you very much.
yeah, maybe even check with another recruiter, or if you're working with any particular job search group, just see what other people have encountered. Or I haven't seen that yet. Maybe once that I saw it, but there's a possibility that it might, take you out of the running. I don't know.
So Holly, so Diane, yes, I have had that question from a couple of people, and I guess my perspective, Holly, is that the people who have asked me and they're concerned about putting in, my answer is, what's the difference if the company or the recruiter is putting it through AI? Because all your information is on all the same information is on LinkedIn, and it's actually in your resume. So I personally don't know what the downside of that is, but I'm no expert on that, just like you said you are. But if the concern is like security or something, you're already giving them your information, your resume. So, and I haven't encountered seeing it myself either, but I have heard from a couple of people.
Right. Okay, well, if we're done with questions, again, just kind of wrapping up the cover letters by saying, just kind of create a template with some paragraphs that you want to use over and over again. Keep those placeholders for, 1 to 3 more paragraphs that specifically address some things in the job description, and then have that separate document like you're seeing on screen with the interchangeable paragraphs about your experience, and just be able to copy and paste those into your template to quickly create a cover letter that you can use for that particular application. So in wrapping that up, we're going to talk a little bit about the security of AI and what are the risks. Now, I'm addressing this specifically from the standpoint of resumes and cover letters. Certainly, when you get into a job and land a job, your IT department for that particular job will probably have their own set of rules and everything as far as that particular company is concerned and what they want you to do, because there are just data privacy breaches, plagiarism, copyright infringements, things like that that could possibly be part of the risks. But the other thing is that when you're putting anything into ChatGPT, best practice is to avoid sharing any personal information. So don't ever put your name, your address, phone numbers, email addresses, nothing personal in there. Because again, it's a little brain that's going to remember all that kind of stuff, and you don't want it to remember your personal information. So that would be what I stress the most as it relates to this whole session of resumes and cover letters, is that the cover letter is personal to you, and that you're kind of, talking about your experience, but it's your experience in a particular role. It's not anything personal to you, like your address or anything like that. So if you have to put that kind of information in, either just put in gobbledygook as a placeholder, or maybe fictitious information or something like that. But I would not share any personal information there. You will get in the chat in the cheat sheet that Elisa's gonna send out is a link to this document about the risks of AI, and you can certainly read through this as well. Again, this is using AI in general, not specifically as it relates to resumes and cover letters, but it will tell you a little bit about the risks of AI in general. So you might want to read through this document too. So I'm going to move forward to kind of talk about some additional resources, and then we can kind of wrap up and take some additional questions. So we've kind of talked about that security, and now here are some resources. I have put these in the cheat sheet or job aid that you'll get at the end of the session, but articles about using ChatGPT to write a resume. You'll get the article about the 8 best resume builders, some of which I put at the beginning of our session today and talked about some of those. Using AI to build your resume, tips and prompts. You'll have a whole other separate document like we've talked about the 25 best prompts to use. But here are some great resources that will be in that particular job aid. So Elisa, I think we can open up for some questions and maybe even do some ChatGPT work for some of the folks that are on the session, depending on how much time we have.
Okay, thank you, Holly. That's wonderful. So the first up I have is Jennifer, and then if anybody else has a question, just write it in the chat now, and I'll take a look. Okay. So Jennifer, did you want to ask your question?
I would like to research different companies and positions, and in order to tweak resume or keep different types of resumes for different jobs. Can you also like send us a list of maybe 5 categories or questions that I should ask about a company or a county department or wherever I'm applying? That would be good to know before going into the to an interview. I mean, for business people, it might be, the business model or whatever, but you might want to know like the culture of the company or all the products they make or their best product.
Right.
Those sorts of questions would be helpful for me.
Yeah, and you can certainly play around with ChatGPT and see, again, you're being very specific about a company. And so I don't know, ChatGPT, again, is only as good as its brain is. And so if people haven't asked about that particular company before, it may not be able to tell you the things that you're looking for. That's more like a Google search to ask about information.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm not
No, I
understanding.
get it. I wasn't thinking like a robot. It only knows what people have asked it. I forgot. I forgot that. I kept thinking it sort of had access to, I thought it had access to Google, but I guess it does not.
Yeah. And maybe, somebody earlier in the session mentioned that there's a new Google AI, artificial intelligence application. So maybe look into that one. Maybe it operates a little bit differently than ChatGPT. So that might be one to look into.
Yeah, I just shared. It's called Bard. Yeah.
Okay.
Bard.
Yeah, that's more of the help that I would want in this particular case. Okay, thank you very much.
There's one that's even better than Bard. I just want to try. There's one that's even better than Bard, and it's specifically used for research, and it's very accurate. It's called Perplexity.ai.
Perplexity.ai. Okay, thanks so much. Appreciate that.
Good.
And by the way, as of today, Bard, somebody mentioned before, is now called Gemini.
Oh, okay. Gemini. Bard. Okay.
Excellent.
Great.
Excellent. And I love actually, so Holly, I know you haven't had a chance to look at the chat because I told you you're focused on presenting, but a lot of questions are coming in chat. People are answering, having dialogue, and I'm absolutely loving that. You're all helping each other out with your knowledge. Terrific. So I am going to, so Janet, then Zev, then Sangeet. Jen, I don't know if your question was answered or if you still want to ask a question.
I'm going to ask it.
Okay.
It's a little bit controversial, but I'm going to put it out there anyway. Because I've been using these ChatGPT tools for quite a while. I've even subscribed to some called ScanCo, etc. Is there a case to be made to not even worry about using these tools, because it is so hard to get through the ATS systems and align the keywords and to focus more on networking? And I say this, I'm a writer and I have spent a tremendous amount of time learning these tools. I work in marketing, and I definitely see the benefit of it when I do research on a company and understanding what their corporate pillars are and what it is they do for their business and asking interview questions. But in terms of the resume, I'm still on the fence on whether it's worth my time, to be completely candid, because it takes up to an hour to if you really are in there making the amendments that it suggests. So just wanted to throw that out for food for thought.
Yeah. Well, definitely. I mean, I know, there are people that don't want to use it, or, I've heard all kinds of different things about even embedding keywords in your resume and hiding them. You basically put a keyword in and turn the text from black to white so it's invisible. And people have done that in their resumes too, just to be able to get through stuff. And maybe then they're not using ChatGPT, or they're just using ChatGPT for the keywords, and then that's it. So it's really, what you prefer. And if you put stuff in and it doesn't yield things that seem true to you, then you may not want to use it.
But that said, this was an awesome presentation, and I learned some prompts from you that I hadn't been using before. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Janet.
And Janet, I just wanted to build on, this is Elisa, that if an interpretation of your question is how much effort should I put into networking versus making sure I'm using ChatGPT with my cover letter and my resume, if there was like a balance, I would say that networking is always critical. You always have to keep up your networking as much as you can. And with regards to applying for, online, using ChatGPT to help you with your applications online and everything that Holly is sharing with us, you want it to be solid and do it, but it doesn't replace networking. Networking is golden. So that would be my opinion. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you both. Much appreciated.
Okay, Zev, did you want to ask your question, and then Sangeet?
Yeah, so I can, I guess, elaborate, because my question was kind of vague, but as like a young professional, my question is more so about is there anything that you recommend when it comes to resumes and cover letters that I could use in ChatGPT, or any kind of resources that I should be aware of when it comes to starting out in the job world, because after the semester I'll graduate and go off into the world. So I don't know if there's any resources or things to look forward to when it comes to using ChatGPT or anything in regards to that.
So are you talking about building from scratch? Your
I
resume?
guess so. Because as I'm applying to grad school and stuff like that, I guess it's harder to know what is the right way or to just have a cover letter and a resume, because I have one, but I want to make sure that it's better than what I currently have.
Right. And Elisa, I'm sure you have some experience too in helping people in their job searches. I even had Googled resume formats, or and then it talked about sections of a resume. And once you kind of get down your resume or the sections of your resume and then kind of start building it out, then you can kind of incorporate AI. But similarly, again, I prefer to do it, start it myself, but like I'm showing on screen, and this article is also going to be in the job aid that we're providing, but it's the 8 best AI resume builders. So again, if you're starting from scratch, you may want to use some of these. Again, a few of them, if you want to take it to the next step, require a payment. But here are some 8 that were recommended, some of which are free and some of which are paid plans. But and then the other one that my friend told me about recently is this HyperWrite that you can use, and you can try it for free. I put in AI tools, and here I put in a search for resume, and it came up with a, resume updater and a cover letter generator. I don't know, I haven't dabbled in this one particularly, but a friend of mine said he likes to use this to create a fresh resume for every single job. And he goes, because it's so quick, but it's all AI driven. And I hope he's reading through and making some adjustments. But anyway, these are just some that help you build it. But I would just even Google like sections of a resume or resume formatting, just to kind of find something that looks appealing to you, and that, I'm sure that everybody can give you their opinion on a resume, and you'll get something different every time you ask somebody. But that would at least give you the general format, and then start building it out, and then using AI to refine is my recommendation.
Yeah, so I would build on that. So Holly, everything you say, I totally align with. The other thing is that, it's subjective in terms of what format you want to use, what font you want to use, all the sections. What's not subjective, but what's like real, like, not subjective, but concrete, is to let the job posting lead how you're customizing your resume and the final resume that you're putting in. You want to make sure that those keywords in that job description, that you've covered off on those. You want to make sure that the key qualifications and the job responsibilities, that you've addressed those in your resume. That's more important than the format, the order, all of those things. And we could just go in circles and circles and circles and update a million times. If you ask 3 people to review your resume, you'll get 10 different answers with format and font. And I always say to people, just try to stop and just focus on the job posting. And if you have your resume for that job posting, do you think if you were hiring, would they pick you?
A great question.
Yeah, excellent questions.
Especially for somebody that's younger.
Hi. My name is Ian. Thank you. So I wanted to thank everyone for their LinkedIn. I reached out to everyone on LinkedIn. So Ian Mazel, feel free to connect with me. I'm a social media strategist, and I had a suggestion for one way I've used it, which I haven't heard yet, which is my prompt is like, what are the top 5 qualities for this job that I should emphasize on my resume? And I'll put the job description in after that, and then it will give me a list of 5, and then I'll go into the resume and kind of pepper those 5 things in, but put it in my own words.
Okay. So what are the top 5, what did you say?
What are the top 5 qualities for this job that I should emphasize on my resume?
There, well, let's just even try it.
And then like, you have to put a specific job in there.
Yeah. See that, and then into our little copy. Oops, sorry. Copy here, go back into ChatGPT, put our job description in here and send it off. It even said, hey, provide it, the tailored response. So here I added in the job description, and now ChatGPT, based on the job description provided for the position, here are the top 5 qualities. And for, my training and development, instructional design expertise, facilitation skills. So, Ian, if I understand you correctly, then you could focus on this in your resume or even in your cover letter.
Yeah. So I have a 2-step. So I'll go through and I'll rewrite my resume with these. Then I put the resume in and I'll say, and the job description, I'll say, how can I write the cover letter based on this resume and this job description? And then it will give me great lines to throw right into the cover letter.
Awesome. I love this. Good tip for everybody on board here. So again, his prompt was, what are the top 5 qualities for this job that I would emphasize on my resume? Pasted the job description in there, and then came up with their results. And then he took it a step further. Awesome. Thank you.
Can you reiterate the step further? What was that prompt?
So then the next prompt would be, once you've tailored that resume, put the resume in, put the job description in, and say, how would I write a cover letter for this job based on this resume? But again, like what Holly is saying, like it'll generate a cover letter for you at that point. Then you actually tailor that. So you wouldn't just use it exactly, but it'll give you a lot of great lines. So the prompt would be, using this resume and this job description, what would a good cover letter be? And that'll give you some content to start with.
Thank you.
I was on a different call yesterday, and one of the things that you guys had mentioned, JobScan, in one of the earliest slides, they were running a special and giving a little bit of a break. Would that be okay to post that in the chat? I didn't want to do it unless you guys thought it was okay to do.
Yeah, you can. But
Okay.
thanks for asking. Thanks for asking.
All right, very good. And it was about a 20% off. I don't know how long it's going to be out there, but as of yesterday, it was there. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Holly, I saw a couple of questions. A couple of people asked this question. What is your opinion on simply continuing to use the free versions of all these tools? We'll just use ChatGPT for an example, or paying for them. We get the same question about, should I pay for LinkedIn Premium, right? But so what is your opinion on this? And I know it's just your opinion.
Yeah. So if you pay for ChatGPT, first of all, I mean, everything is relative. So $20 a month for somebody might be a lot of money. For others, it might be just a drop in the bucket, but it is $20 a month for the paid version of ChatGPT. And you get 2 more years of your brain in the ChatGPT brain. So the free version is back in like 2021 versus the 4.0, the paid version is 2023. So it has a little bit more knowledge. I would say that it probably depends on your industry and how many people are doing searches or prompts to get information in your industry as to whether it's worth it or not. I'm being a little thrifty right now because I've started my own business and I'm watching my pennies. So that's why I'm not paying for it. And I, quite frankly, when I've been putting things in the 3.5, the free version, I feel very comfortable with what it's yielding and make those modifications to make it my own. And I feel very comfortable with it. So it's really a personal preference. And I think if you use the free version and give it some prompts and see what it yields for your specific industry and the jobs that you're looking for, if you feel good about it, the free part, then keep going with it. And if you don't really like the results and you think because your industry, maybe you're in IT and things are always changing and that 2 years could really impact and make a difference for you, well, then you might want to pay for the other version and see if it yields some better results for you. You can always cancel. So that's, I guess, what I would recommend.
I have the same recommendation. So, right, which is that
Right,
use the 3.5 version that's free. If you
right,
find that you're not liking the results, or you wanted to go deeper or things like that, then you can try out paying, and then you can cancel it if you don't see a difference, right?
right.
I always
I
start
was
with the
just
free of everything.
Yeah, I was just trying to pull up some of the things. One was um the cheat sheet or job aid that we're going to send out after this. And then this is the other document or article that we're going to send out about the prompts, 25 powerful prompts. So you'll get both of these from Elisa after the session.
I've been experimenting with ChatGPT 4, and one of the cool things it has is something called DALL-E, which is an image generator, which is fun.
Yeah. The generative, and I've tried that too. Except I think it has a ways to go, Ian, because I put in something really simple, like saying I want an image with a circle in the middle and arrows coming in, and it gave me all kinds of weird stuff. But the minute I said I want a picture of a monkey with a pen in his hand writing something, it came up with exactly what I was looking for. So I don't know what to say about that, but the generative AI, I think, is needing a little bit of work. Either that or it might be user error.
Yeah, there are a lot of free tools. Another good free tool that you can play with is called Adobe Express, and you get some free credits, and you can use that for free image generation too. Adobe Express.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for all these great tips.
Hey, Ian, I have a question for you. So you said that you build your resume each time the 5 best quality of the position. So you update your resume each time at LinkedIn as well? Because I'm in IT and they check my resume in LinkedIn like word to word.
Yeah, no, I have a general resume that's on LinkedIn, but then I customize each resume I send into an employer and change some of the keywords.
So is it okay? I mean, they check like word to word.
I think so. I think you need to tailor each resume for each job, and then on LinkedIn have a more general profile.
Okay.
So
Thank
who
you.
is asking that question?
Kunjal.
Okay, Kunjao, and we're going to be ending this presentation, but then we're staying on at 11:30 for about 20 minutes for networking and more questions. So I can go through that question with you in more detail if you'd like, okay?
Okay, yeah, sure. That would be great. Thank you.
Okay. So we have time for perhaps one more quick question.
Mine is easy. This is Lewis.
Good.
Okay,
Hi, Lewis.
if you could just, maybe it was already directly asked and answered, but if you could just briefly say what you feel is the big difference between the free version and the paid version in your own opinion, because you're the one that uses it, just so we, if we're using the free, kind of go, it's not an incentive, just thinking, because I've heard a couple things that it does versus not, but just like 1 or 2 quick points so we can all go, aha, I don't really need the paid right now per se.
Right. Again, I think the difference is that the paid version is newer information. So again, I liken ChatGPT as to a brain, right? And 2 more years of brain knowledge is better than the old 2 years in some cases. But again, I think it depends on your industry and the job that you're looking for, as to whether you need that new information or not. So again, it's just a personal preference. Thanks for joining us again too, Lewis, by the way.
Well, I'm glad I could bring you to the group.
Yes, I'm very happy. So I think, you might just play around. Like you said, you could always cancel the 4.0 and pay for just the 1 month, and just cancel it afterwards if you felt like there wasn't a big enough difference. But I think it's all about the brain power of ChatGPT. So if you want those additional 2 years of brain power, then great. And if not, if it's yielding, the free version is yielding the results that you want, then I would just ride with it.
Okay, well, Holly, I can't thank you enough. When you see the chat after, everybody is thanking you. This was a
Thanks.
fabulous presentation, and so useful and practical, and all the resources that, yes, everyone, I will be emailing out to you. It's just your generosity is just really, really appreciated. So for everybody,
Wonderful.
thank you. And I wanted to just mention two other things. Again, want to thank our sponsors who make this available for free for everyone. So the Jewish Federation of Greater MetroWest and Project M. And my last announcement is that please join us on Thursday, February 22nd, when Amy Geffen is going to be talking about how to job search over 50. So hope everybody has a good day, and thank you
That one down.
all, and signing off. Okay, bye.